I have lucid dreams almost every single night. It's been that way since I was a kid, so it's normal for me. I'm not sure what astral projection is, but my lucid dreams feel like I'm actually going to a place that feels like home. The cities I go to are just magnificent. There's one where there's a big body of deep navy blue water with rainbow-colored whales, seals, and humongous fish. There's a town I like to go to that's at the top of a hill with a huge 7-story building filled with books. It's my favorite place to go. It's my home, and I look forward to dreaming every night. When I wake up, I feel disoriented. I don't immediately recognize this place, this life. It feels like I've been living someplace else and now I have to reorient myself back to this life here, which is slower and heavier. But then slowly recognition kicks in and, I also meet beings in my lucid dreams. Some are spirit guides who want to give a specific message, and some are people who have passed. For example, recently in a dream, I met a friend of Jay's who had passed away. He said he was in a hurry to meet his wife and he couldn't stay long to hang out with us. I woke up from that dream and wondered why I had seen him since I never think about him. Then I looked at the date and that's when I realized that it was the anniversary of his passing. He must have wanted to drop by and say hi to Jay. A lot of people who come out in my dreams are alive as well. And they've come to tell me something that's relevant to their life right now. For example, once I saw a friend's husband appear in my dream. In the dream, he came to visit me and Jay alone, which was odd because he and his wife were the type of couple that never went anywhere by themselves. Anyway, in the dream, he looked somber and he said that he didn't intend to go back home and that he was going to look for a job here in the Bay Area. I woke up from that dream and I carefully told my friend, his wife, what I saw. She laughed and said it was ridiculous. But 6 months later, they separated for good. And he was looking for a job and he called Jay to say he was driving up to see us. So how did I come to have lucid dreams? Well, actually, it runs in my family, my mom's side of the family. My mom and her sister have lucid dreams, and this ability, tendency, whatever it is, has been passed on to me and my brother. My brother's lucid dreams started not too long ago, compared to me, who's been having it since I was a kid. His started in his adult years. But what's cool about his is that he can control it. He meets his crew of higher beings in his lucid dreams and they answer his questions. They show him natural disasters that's about to happen, like floods and storms and what have yous. Anyway, for those who are interested in having lucid dreams, I have some tips for you. I even consulted my brother, so I'm very excited to share. Take your dreams seriously. This is so important. I can't emphasize how important it is. If you want to lucid dream, you have to take all your dreams seriously. I don't mean to take it in a heavy way, but don't dismiss it like most people tend to do. For me, all my dreams mean something, even if they're not lucid dreams. It could be telling me something about a certain person. It could be telling me about an issue that's rising from my subconscious. Or it could be about an energy that's brewing in the air. All my dreams, all of them have meaning. So I don't dismiss them. The more interested you are in your dreams, the more you'll receive messages from it. Become good at interpreting symbolisms. For me, some dreams are literal, but a lot of them are symbolic. I have an abstract mind, so it makes sense that my dreams are symbolic. For example, the other day, I dreamt about my high school boyfriend, which was odd since I never think about him. In my dream, this boyfriend was still waiting for me to come back to him, even though I had moved on and was already married to Jay and had a full life going. Now, when I woke up and ruminated on this dream, I realized that the ex-boyfriend still waiting for me symbolized how the past still had a hold on me. But in my dream, I recognized that I was now a different person. So the whole dream was about me releasing the past and letting go of the person I used to be and fully committing myself to who I am at the present. Coincidentally or not so coincidentally, this dream came just when I was worried that I might be repeating a cycle that I was on in the past. I knew I was a completely different person now with a completely different mindset. But at the time, my life circumstances mirrored the past, and so I worried that I might be still stuck in an old cycle. And so the dream was a response to my worry. The symbolism you see in your dreams will be unique to you since it'll be in a language that you can understand. So don't worry about misinterpreting it. Journal your dreams. I make it a point to write down my dreams, and I take some time to think about the meaning behind it. Like I mentioned before, sometimes the dream is literal. A person appears in my dream and tells me something specific. Or I see a situation unfold in my dream and it happens in real life. But many times the dream is symbolic. So in order to unravel the message, I need to sit down and think about what it means. And I always do this by writing it down in my journal and taking apart each detail and interpreting it. The more I do this, the better I get at interpreting the message. And the better I get at receiving messages through my dreams, the more frequently the messages come through my dreams. Ask a question and trust that an answer will be shown. This tip comes from my brother. If he wants to know about something, he says that he asks a question in a form of a prayer and trusts that the answer will be given. In fact, he believes it so strongly that he expects it to show up. Then he goes to sleep and has a lucid dream where the answer is shown to him. Sometimes higher beings appear in his dream and literally tells him, and sometimes he's taken behind the scenes of the situation he asked about and he's shown the outcome of his decisions. I do something similar, but not as consciously as he does it, but I usually think about something intensely, and that night or a few nights after, I get an answer about that. Set your body to a high frequency. This is another tip from my brother. If he wants to talk to a higher consciousness, then he keeps his body calibrated to the higher frequency that matches the consciousness. And he does this through prayer. Not just before he goes to sleep, but just being in a state of prayer throughout his days. I guess that makes sense since prayer is basically communication to the higher realm. So if you're in a state of prayer, then it means that you're constantly open to communication. And of course, that line of communication will continue on during your dream state. Pay attention to repeating dreams. Pay close attention to repeating dreams. They're trying to communicate something to you and you're not getting it. For example, I kept dreaming that I was back at school trying to get a second degree, but I would find myself no longer able to keep up with the curriculum because my mind was too expanded. And I kept dreaming this for years and the dream would not let up. Usually when I sit down and interpret the dream and I see the message behind the dream goes away. But this dream kept popping up. Anyway, it turned out that there were several meanings behind it. The dream was telling me that I was no longer fit to be boxed into a regular job. And the other meaning was that it was my time to learn and prepare myself, just as a student learns and prepares herself to go out into the real world. Anyway, one night I dreamt that I had graduated, and after that, the dream never came back. In conclusion, the key is to love it and be grateful that you are communicating through your dreams. If you get scared or anxious or insistent, then that communication line will close since the divine or your guides don't want to derail you. I want to end this video by saying that having lucid dreams doesn't mean that you're somehow spiritually more advanced or whatever. There are 1,000, a million ways higher consciousness is speaking to you. It simply chooses the most open method, the method that's going to delight you the most, to hear and receive their communications. And lucid dreaming is just one out of the many. But ultimately, having kindness and peace is what matters the most, not some ability. Like always, thanks for being here with me, talking about esoteric subjects like lucid dreaming. Tell me in the comment section below about your own experience with lucid dreaming and any tips you might have about having it consciously. I'm very curious to know how you do it yourself. Until next time, regards, Ray.